Hi, everybody. So I got a couple more messages last night, and I just wanted to share them with you. The first one was from my friend Mark over at Mark's Basement Arcade. Good guy. I recommend his videos. Link is down in the description. Watching his videos is so entertaining and fun because it's like hanging out with a friend for a while. Especially his Pinball Parts or Not. I think they're a lot of fun. Now, I'm asking all of you a favor. Go down and subscribe to him if you have not. He's within striking distance of 1,000 subs. Let's help him get there. But he sent me a message last night.
That mic is a crazy.
All right, let's see who else. Arthur messaged me again.
What a cockhead.
You know what? I'm not checking my messages anymore. Super quick note before we get going on this. I've been going back through some old videos. I've decided I would love to do a gun game again. I would love to do a rifle game. If any of my local friends, local please, because I'm happy to come get it. But please let me know if you have a gun game that you would like to have done for free and I can put it on the channel. Let me know. I'll come get it, or we can arrange that, and I'd love to do it for the channel. I'd love to do a gun game again, so let me know. Hi everybody, welcome to Mike's Classic Pinball. I am Mike. I wanted to do another Q&A video. This one's going to be a little bit shorter, I think, but it's about a subject I've been thinking about for a while. But I just decided I wanted to kind of put the meat of it together and get the video out. Now it's about a subject that's a little bit of an interesting topic in the coin-op world, which is, it's kind of the redheaded stepchild that nobody likes in the coin-op world, which is bingo machines, and my thoughts on them. So I know it's like, Mike, why in God's name would you do a video about bingos? Well, because it's my channel and I feel like it, so there. But you know, the feeling by a lot of people on the bingo front is kind of summed up by my buddy Philip, who said, Mike, the best way to work on a bingo machine is to coat the sides in KY jelly, thus assisting the process of ramming it up your ass sideways. Well, that's uncalled for. Nick also was messaging me about him and said that things he would rather do than play a bingo machine include gently cupping a stranger's scrotum throughout the entirety of a 3-day seminar on the history of foot fungus in Provo. That's a bit much. So I've noticed by and large that a lot of people, especially in the pinball business, just don't like bingos. And there's a couple of reasons as to why that I have come across with the friends that I've talked to about this. Number one is that they are boring. And I want to talk about that. Number two is that they are incredibly hard to work on. Oh, we'll talk about that too in a second, but I like them. I actually like them a lot. I've owned a couple of them. And to be honest, you know, it was almost 10 years ago I got my first bingo, and I can't even remember what it was. I can't find any pictures of it. But I was looking for cheap games, cheap coin-op games, and there was this local guy in Salt Lake named Joe. Good old Joe. He was amazing, and I haven't talked to him in, God, probably 6 or 7 years. I really need to get a hold of him again. But he had some bingo machines, so I went to his house. He was selling a couple of project bingos super cheap, so I wanted to go get one because I'd never played with him before. I'd never messed around with him, and I really wanted to do one. And I went to his house, and it was like stepping back in time when I went in there. It was a tiny little house that was like a TARDIS. It was huge on the inside of the tiny little house on the outside. And every inch of that place was covered in bingos. And what wasn't was covered in 70s technology. It was brilliant. I walked in and there was Pink Floyd and Beatles posters on the wall while fantastic Beatles music was playing on the reel-to-reel tape in his living room. And then we went through the rest of the house just looking at dozens of these beautiful bingo machines. Now, he did charge a premium for a lot of these. I mean, they were going upwards of $1,700 to $2,200 for a lot of them, but they were pristine. He had lovingly restored these rare, beautiful machines, and they were fantastic, and we had such a ball. I bought multiple games from him. I bought that first bingo, and then I bought as a victory special, a one-ball pony game. And I've had a couple of those. I had a champion not too long ago, and they were great. But it kind of goes into what people, talk about with how they don't like those games. And one of the main things is that there's no flippers. It's like a wood rail game. There's no flippers on the side. It is essentially a game of chance, where you blow your 5-ball load and go on with your life. And that's as may be. I mean, that argument could be made. I mean, basically a bingo is that. You are shooting 5 balls into, I'll show you here, a board of 25 holes, and you're trying to get those balls. Those will land in different things, and you're trying to light up on the back. You're trying to light those numbers on the back to make a bingo. Now, bingos have an interesting history. They've been around for a long time. Companies like Gottlieb and Keeney were making them as early as 30, 31. But the bulk of them actually came from Bally. The majority of, now they are, people say they were just a 50s game. They actually stretched for quite a bit longer than that. There are some companies like Cyrno were making them as late as 2007 was the latest I found. But the bulk of them were made by Bally, and they started with, there were a few games that started with right about 1951, games like Bright Lights, Broadway, and a handful of others. And they continued on fairly regularly with a lot of great games all the way through, I guess the latest one, or the last one to come out of Bally, I think was 1981. Let's see if I can find it, Mississippi Showboat. Very few games were ever made of that, more of a test game than anything. But super cool. But I would beg to differ with the boring bit, or at least make a counter argument to it. The same could be made for early pinball machines. Basically you've got your flippers down on the bottom, just trying to keep the ball up and shoot the lit shot. So, I mean, it can be simplified down, but if you really look at a bingo machine, they were amazing. There's what I call the ABCD panel on the front. I call it that because it's ABCD. Most commonly, it was those 4 buttons, ABCD. And those were used to adjust things on the back box so that your 5 balls would garner you better chances of winning. Going so far as to even adjust the position of the numbers. Now, if you really think about it, these games were mathematical genius, especially for the 50s when, solid state computers didn't really even exist then. These were these electromechanical machines that were doing incredible calculations. And it wasn't just 25 squares. It wasn't a single bingo card like that. Like I had a Light-A-Line, I'll show you here real quick, that I spent a lot of time restoring and making really nice. But as you can see, that it's not 25, it's actually 150 positions that are being tracked on different cards. Now that's fantastic for an EM machine. That's better than half a dozen drop targets that you're trying to hit. There's 150 positions it was trying to track. But we'll get into more of that in a moment, but they could be so much fun. Games that I've worked on and games that I've played on bingos, you could actually use left and right buttons to adjust colors on the cards so that you could get color matches as well as your number matches. There were so many different ways, but bingo machines were kind of one of the things that caused the big controversy of ball games being considered gambling devices, because they would pay out, or according to the law back then, if you were to win a free game, that was considered a thing of value on a game of chance, and that was illegal. So the games were changed a little bit to give single balls, or different ways that it was adjusted to get around those laws. I'm not going to go into all that. There's tons of videos, tons of books out there on it. But I would beg to differ, though, with the boring part of it. You should take a chance to play some. If you haven't really had a chance to, they're a lot of fun. And they're different. It's a lot like in the pinball days in the 60s and 70s. They were trying so hard to do different new things. This was something different. Same with the one-ball ponies. One day I may do a video on ponies, I don't know. But I like those too. And they were just a single ball that you were trying to shoot and then advance position of your horse. They were a lot of fun, and they were just different. They were something to change it up and enjoy. Now, the other big argument is that they're, excuse me, I have a little something, it'll clear up. It might take me with it, but it's not that. The other thing is that they're incredibly hard to work on. Now, granted, the back box of a bingo is intimidating as hell, especially if you're not hugely familiar with EM machines. They're incredibly intimidating when you open one up. First time I did, it's like, what? Holy shit, look at all of this stuff. But then I kind of realized that it's not that much more than an EM machine, which we're all absolutely fine with. If you look down in the cabinet of a bingo machine, there's nothing there. It's just the trap board and the mechanism for the trap board, a couple of switches, and the Absiday board switches, and then basically the coin mech. That's really all that's down there. The body of a bingo is incredibly light. But the back box, they basically stuck everything in the back box, which was out of design. But so I've seen EMs that are worse. I mean, have you ever seen the inside of a Chicago Coin Festival? I mean, the relay board down in the bottom of that game was a Leviathan. It was an absolute juggernaut beast. One of the biggest relay boards I've ever worked on. They were insane. But basically all they did was they took what they needed of that and just stuck it in the back box. They put everything in the back box, just in case there was a problem with the board and balls start dropping onto components. So a smart move, but the back box is really heavy. I remember working on a few of these games, and back box was so heavy and so back heavy, I was afraid that even just standing there, the game was just going to tap out. But if you look inside the back of a bingo machine, it's pretty much everything that was going to be down on the relay board in the cabinet, but all stuck into the back box. There are more stepper units because there's a lot more to track. But stepper units, we can handle stepper units. That's fine. If you do a really good job on cleaning a stepper unit, which is in previous videos and will be in future videos, it's manageable. And then just relays, making sure that the relays are good. And then if you've got one of those special ones that have rotating and sliding, this and that, then you got to keep track of the mechanisms for those. But other than that, there's not a lot to them. They're not hugely difficult to work on. And one of my big pluses for them is, by and large, a lot of them don't have a shit ton of score reels. Like again, the festival had 20 score reels in the back. It was a 4-player EM, and the one I looked at and worked on looked like looked like Indiana Jones needed to go do his thing in there. But So I like bingos, and if you don't like bingos, that's fine. Totally cool. I do happen to like them, and the nice thing is for me is they're cheap. They're ridiculously cheap. By and large, you can probably find somebody within 50 miles of you who will give you a bingo, because they just want that shit out of their basement. They want to make room for, for an Indiana Jones or something like that, or they just don't want it there. They don't play it. And they want it out of there. Plus, they're incredibly heavy and they're so hard to work on. Now, are they easy to work on? No, but not a lot of BMs are. But they are fun, and I recommend you give them a try. Now, Mike, are you going to be doing a repair and restore video on bingos? No, and I will tell you not. I'll tell you why. There is a series of videos by a guy named Richard Gerlitz. I'll put a link down there. His videos are really good. He's done a very comprehensive set of bingo repair videos. Plus, he has great resources for backglass for bingos. But by and large, all of the bingos I've ever had didn't really have backglass problems. They were pretty nice and usually in pretty good shape. I've not really seen very many bingos with worn playfields. By and large, they were really nice because nobody ever played the fucking things. But he has some great videos on it, and I recommend them. It's 11 videos for just like $40. And even if you're not into bingos, I still recommend them because there's so much good information there for just EM repair and general EM troubleshooting. So I would give those a look. And next time you run across a bingo, give it a play. If it's working, that is. Give it a play. I kind of wish I had some more bingos, but at the same time I don't, because the only thing that I have negatively against bingos is the fact that nobody likes them. And when I put one of those machines in my basement, back when I had a proper basement to do that, those machines would sit there. And the few times I had a bingo, I had to give them away to make room because nobody wants to buy them. But that also makes them incredibly cheap. You could probably pick one up nearby for between free and $50, I'll bet. But that's my rant. That's my little thoughts on bingo machines. And give them a try. You know, why not? You know, give them a little bit of a try. You might enjoy them. Until then, I am working on new videos, and I'll probably do some more rant videos in the near future. But I just thought I'd give you guys my thoughts on that. So go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you guys again very soon. Have a good one.